Hello and thank you for coming to watch this video. So today's video is going to be all about blue and gold. It's a tribute to my mom's Rams that just made it to the final round right before the Super Bowl. She's excited. This is her first year with the Rams. She hadn't picked a team before. She always just sort of cheered for mines or whomever's, but this time she picked the Rams early, actually in the beginning of the season. So she feels lucky that they made it through. So anyhow, like I said, today's pour is all about blues and golds and yellows. So earlier you saw a picture of the paints that I used. I'm gonna go ahead and list those in the description as soon as my laptop is fixed. And but you can also pause so you can kind of take a look. Here, I just I'm actually mixing the paint in front of you this time so that you kind of see how I do it. So I do have a little bit of time to tell you which colors I use, so I'll go ahead and do that. So I have it's Titanium White by Liquitex Basics. I have Phthalo Blue by Liquitex Basics. We have Cadmium Yellow Deep Hue by Liquitex Basics. We have Light Blue by Liquitex Basics. We have 24 Karat Gold by Deco Art. We have Turquoise by Amsterdam. Actually, the turquoise I didn't use, but then we also have Primary Cyan by Amsterdam, and I definitely used that. I also put a cup together that has a bit of the light blue with white as my flow extender. I also put a little extra water in there so it's a lot more liquidy, but by mistake I forgot that part, and so I did actually end up using a little bit of, see right there, a little bit of that really light blue, and so hopefully it won't make my painting crack at the end. So here I am loading the cup. Go ahead and pause or slow down if you want to kind of take a look and see what color goes first and stuff like that. And now I am going to prep my canvas. So I used a 12 by 24 canvas, and so I'm giving this magic wand a second try. The first one was pretty successful, but I think my paints, I used the pearl medium in the white, which ended up making everything really runny, and it fractured. It didn't crack, it just fractured the paint on the green wand pour. But so I'm gonna try it again, and as you can see, this time is a lot different. So I think I'm not gonna use that pearl medium because I don't think I know what the effects are until I figure it out. I'm not gonna use it anymore. And yeah, so here I am letting the paint settle. Now I lift it, and as I lift, there's a lot of suction that happens, and so just as I lift the wand, the paint is sort of sucked into the middle, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I don't know if you can see the lines in the detail already, but now because last time I used too little paint, this time I didn't want to have the same problem. But now my problem is that I have too much paint. So I'm gonna end up losing about half of this paint, which is really sad because it's beautiful paint. It just yeah, it's really creamy and stuff like that. So I love Liquitex Basic stuff. I love golden. Oh, also, I didn't note this before, but I also used iridescent copper by Golden in the pour. But you saw that in the picture. Anyhow, so yeah, so I love Golden. I love Liquitex Basics. In Amsterdam, of course. I sometimes use Arteza, but I don't know, for some reason, because Bob Ross used to use Liquitex Basics, or Liquitex paints, and he's my first painting influence. I think that's why I like Liquitex Basics. But anyhow, I mean, I'm not married to it, so I use Modern Masters. I use Master's Touch, which is a less expensive paint. But my favorite really is Liquitex Basics. For now, I haven't discovered anything else. All right. So here we're still stretching the paint, and as we stretch the paint, I'm realizing that I have this areas that are yellow, and so I'm gonna try to curve them so that they look more like the horns of the rams. So here we go. I'm gonna first tilt from one side to the other and just try to get the gold sides on opposite sides, and then I'll try to also figure out a way to have the golds be symmetrical on both sides. So I'm gonna have to both. No, I'm gonna have to compress one of the sides. The one that's super long, I'm gonna need to compress that so that it makes more the form of the horns of the ram in the front. I am also gonna need to tilt some of it off too, because the gold, I know the gold's gonna dry really pretty, but if I want to compress this yellow part, I'm gonna have to lose some of that. And like I said earlier, I was scared that I wouldn't have enough paint like last time, so I ended up pouring way too much. And so the danger when you do that is that you end up losing a lot of your composition. So yeah, so the best idea is to keep, or to have just enough paint, not just enough paint, a little bit, just a tiny bit more than you need when you're pouring, so that way you can have an opportunity to tilt off some stuff but still keep the composition. Whereas if you have too little, then you overstretch, and then sometimes by overstretching, then you lose your entire composition. That's happened to me so many times. And sometimes it's not necessarily because I have too little, but rather that I use too much flow extender, and sometimes my flow extender is too thin. And so I end up by mistake either tilting off way too much paint and then having not enough, or the flow extender just makes all of my paint super liquidy. So, but this time, the flow extender didn't do that. I just had way too much paint. So here, I hope you can sort of see the horns. I can sort of see the horns, and it looks very, very ram-like to me. It's like looking at the ram from the top, like having like a aerial view of it. So I hope you can sort of see that as well. Now I am using the heat gun to try to pop some of the air bubbles. Because I just mixed my paints, there were a lot of air bubbles. So really what you want to do is you want to mix your paints probably the night before you actually pour, and then you won't have as many of the air bubbles to deal with. But because I decided to do that today, I ended up having to deal with those air bubbles. Now let's take a look at the final product. So I do have to admit that I was a little afraid that I was going to make a lot of green by using all these blues and yellows together. And so what I did to combat that was to try to use white in between the yellow and the blues. And so I think it worked out. Okay, let me take you in for a close-up. So I have a lot of air bubbles, but the heat gun is not popping them. So I may just have to practice with a torch gun, but I don't trust myself with it. But um, it is fantastic. Look at all these colors. It's just the lines and the movement. And I was trying to do the ram horns. So those are supposed to be the ram horns. I think it's pretty good. It's not that bad. I mean, the piece is stunning. It's shiny, it's blue, it's gold, it's yellow, it's everything the Rams are. So hoping Mom's Rams make it all the way to the Super Bowl and hopefully win a Super Bowl. Yay, go Rams.